Morning, folks. The first topic I'm going to talk about is nutrition. And this is huge, very controversial, but I'm just going to tell you the things I've done and the reasons I've done it. But I'm going to have to break it up into a few parts, digestible. And it's also the first change I made about 8 years ago. But I want to show you the tools that I use. And for me, it's the only tools you need to spend money on. If you want to have weight loss, improvement muscle mass, your dietary goals. So the very first one is a food scale. This is what I use for pour over, preferably one where you can change the units to ounces, pounds if you like. But people might balk at the idea. I know when my buddy came in and he saw it, he's like, what the heck, you do that? But listen, let me tell you something. If you gain weight over time, you're in a calorie surplus. If you don't like the weight you gain, you're eating too much. And the only way to know how much you're overeating by is to measure it. You do it in every other aspect of your life. You measure your inflows and outflows of your bank account. You look at your car at the fuel gauge and you can see how much fuel you're putting in for your trip. So why wouldn't you do it for food? You didn't have to do it before when you were younger, but we're over 40, headed to 50. That's what this channel is about. So get yourself a food scale. The second thing I recommend is, we're going to my bathroom, a good scale. This one is from eTech City. It does pounds, and it also is an impedance device that will measure your body fat and your visceral fat. And you do need a scale. Get a digital one, a little more precision. And you want that to kind of track your progress. And you might tell me, well, Rishi, how accurate is it? Well, I think at this point in time, you need something that's precise, not accurate. And I'm going to explain that after I explain the third thing that I think you need to get. The third, now that's a food scale is less than $50. That scale in the bathroom, the Ectacity one, is definitely less than 100, definitely less than 60 on Amazon. Ektecity. The reason I like it is it uses Bluetooth and it has an app. It comes from a family of other devices you can buy for your house, I think. But it tracks it. So as soon as I weigh, I open up the app, it uploads it, and I can keep a running track of my weight and my body fat as it changes. And I can show that to my coach or whatever. So it also does your visceral fat, and it's actually a cool app. And the science behind it, where it tells you about body composition and diet, is actually true to the science. So I recommend it, that brand, and I can put a link to it as well. The third thing is you need a calorie tracking app. And I'll tell you what I use is Carbon, which is made by Elaine Norton. And I can put a link to his website. But if you just type in Carbon app or food tracking app in your app store, you can download it. It costs me about $89 a year. And I did it because him and his group of nutritionists are very good. I've learned a lot about nutritional approaches from them. And they do online coaching too. If you feel you need help, budget that in. Don't be afraid. You don't have to go this on your own. If you can seek professional help, if it is money well spent. A lot of people take a vacation. They say, I deserve this. Well, professional coaching isn't as expensive as you think because so many people do it. And I've interacted with his coaches on social media. They're very smart, very helpful people. So it doesn't have to be that hard. and you can seek help from somebody who can tailor your nutrition with your workouts, suggest workouts for you, and help you with your progress. So I use carbon. Now, let's talk about accuracy versus precision. Accuracy is really how close something is to the absolute truth. So picture I'm shooting at a target with a rifle, and I'm looking through the scope and the crosshairs, and I put it on the bullseye, and I pull the trigger, and the bullet hits the bullseye. That instrument is accurate, right? And if I keep pulling the trigger, it's precise, meaning every time I use it, it hits the same spot, assuming I do everything right. Now, let's just suppose I gave you that gun, but I didn't adjust the scope, and the scope is pointed up. So when you actually aim at the bullseye, the actual barrel is pointed lower than the bullseye. So you're going to hit 2 inches under. The instrument is not accurate because I didn't adjust the scope for you, and you don't know that. And however, if you don't know and you think it's you, and you shoot best out of 5, you're consistently going to hit the same spot under the bullseye. So the instrument is not accurate, but it's precise. So it's giving you the same information. You're shooting 2 inches too low. So they call that Kentucky windage, but you can adjust. You can just raise your crosshairs 2 inches above the bullseye, pull the trigger, and you're going to hit the bullseye. So instruments are kind of like that. So when I get these, so the scale, for example, may not be accurate, but as long as it's giving you the same error rate all the time, you'll be able to notice a trend. So if you're working out and in a calorie deficit, it's going to come down. And you'll see it slowly coming down, that or the body fat. A lot of people will buy the Whoop or the Ring or activity trackers. I found them to be not accurate, but precise. Some of them overestimate my calorie spend, make me look like an athlete. Some underestimate it. If you want to spend the money on that, you can. I've done it, and I'll tell you, you don't need it. And here's why. The one thing I don't want you to get caught up on is a measurement loop where your entire life is just focused on living by these measurements. I think it's good for you to measure food, and I'm going to explain why. I don't think you should be living by this app where I didn't burn enough calories, because the app might tell you you're burning a lot, but your weight's not going down. And you might think it's you, but it's just measuring wrong, you know? The other thing is when you're, tracking your calorie, watching the weight, and you kind of don't get any traction, you're stuck in that. And you often try to dial down your calories more. Keep in mind, when you're trying to lose weight and you adjust your dietary habits, you're not supposed to have periods where you're hungry. You're not supposed to be starving and have to take coffee or stimulants or nicotine to stop your cravings for any long period of time. The ideal part is to get nutritionally dense foods that lower your calorie count and keep you full and fuel you. So it's an adjustment in your nutrition. You're not taking anything out. So, if you know you should be eating 2,000 calories and you're tracking your food, there may be an error rate, and your activity device says you're burning 2,500, but the scale is not moving, you're going to be tempted to drive it down. And you may be undereating, and you may just get caught in a loop when really you probably just need to step back and say, hey, maybe I could switch out a few things in my diet. Maybe I need more energy, maybe more protein. Maybe you need to throw in a few walks. Maybe your activity level isn't what you think it is. So it's important to be able to pull out after a few months and reassess your situation. And that's kind of my three big things. I will say the food scale is the most important. And I will say that the first thing you're going to notice when you start weighing your food and looking at portion sizes, you're going to realize how much excess you're eating. if you just go out, have fun with friends, maybe have a little alcohol, makes you eat more, you will see you get up to 3 to 4,000 calories very easy. And when you get on one of these impedance devices, it might tell you your basal metabolic rate is 1,800 calories. Meaning if you get up in the morning and are just home, sitting down, working, going to the office, and not doing any kind of workout, you only burn 1,800 calories, but you're eating 3,000 very easily. And that is the biggest thing that I want people to learn, because we're in a calorie surplus world. Calories are thrown at you. So, which is odd, because when I was growing up in my situation, food was expensive. We didn't have enough calories. So we were always underweight. But that is the main realization, because a lot of people don't realize how calorie rich, especially if you eat out, food is. And you'll eat food you've culturally grown up with. It's very comforting. And, especially if you're out hanging out, drinking beer, watching a sport event, you're having wings, potatoes, fries. Those are very rich foods. So it adds up very, very fast. So the food scale shows you that. And the good thing about a calorie tracking app is that you get to see the amount of calories in the serving sizes. So the food scale and the calorie tracking app is the two most. Spend money on that, because 4 ounces of rice is about 30 grams of carbs. You'd be amazed how small that is. And then look at the amount of rice that you sit down and eat if you're out or if you're at home. And what's going to happen is eventually, with time, you will learn, your brain will pick up the patterns and sizes of portion sizes that keep you within your calorie range. And your meal sizes are going to shrink a bit, and so will your body, what your body processes. So your need for big meals is going to decrease. You're going to be content with smaller meals, say, 500 calorie meals, as opposed to 900, 1,000. But you'll be able to see it. And when you go out to eat, you'll be able to make good decisions, or better decisions, because you'll look at portion, you'll ask about portion sizes, and you'll be able to pick up something that you can track very easily. I'm not saying you don't have your days where you go and have a carbonara, or have shepherd's pie, or tacos, and have chicken fried steak for breakfast. You got to have a day where you do that. But a lot of times we'll go to eat with friends in the middle of the week, or I don't want to say cheat day, but a non-off day. And you're like, yeah, I got to get something. I got to stay within my range. So, the cheeseburger with fries, you might say that's a bit too much fat, because I eat lean meat at home, and that's 70-30. I know where I'm headed. I think I'll have, the turkey sandwich or the turkey burger or something. So little things like that. So those are my devices that I think that you should spend. It's money well spent. It really has changed my view of food and nutrition. I don't overeat as much anymore. I'm less indulgent, because I can actually, when I see and weigh the food, I know how much calories I'm taking in. And your body has a little meter, and it picks up. And eventually, when you start doing this after a year or maybe 6 months, it tells you when it's full. Even if you're out and you can't measure anything, if you eat some noodles or bread, maybe a slice of pizza or two, you're like, yeah, I'm kind of good now. Now, alcohol throws that off, because when I drink alcohol, I eat like crazy. But now if I go out, if I have 2 slices of pizza, I'm done. So these are the instruments measuring instruments I think you should buy. And I think they're going to put you on a good path to getting data to see hey, this is the amount of energy I'm bringing in from food. And the scale will tell you if you're actually in a deficit. Now, give the scale time to work, because it takes out body fat is light. You're actually going to see and feel a difference before it shows up on the scale. So what I tell people is that, and what I tell myself is like, hey, if you feel slimmer, if you put on clothes and it's looser, that's a win. Just wait, hold it out. The scale might drop a half a pound, or the body fat might drop. And keep in mind, these things fluctuate. If you hold in a lot of water weight for women on their cycle, every month weight will change due to retaining water weight. For guys, you can retain water weight. If you jump on Motrin for a week, you're going to retain water weight. If you have a night of drinking and wake up, you're going to be a little heavier on water weight. I found that to be true. If I eat Asian food, have a lot of fish sauce, I hold a lot of water. So a lot of your weight is related to water weight. And once you start cutting back carbohydrates and your glycogen level goes down, you lose water weight as well. So just kind of hold a course. This is a lifestyle change you're doing. And yeah, those are my 3 things. And put any other tools you use, put it down there, and I'll put a link to the scale and then carbon for you guys. And up next, we're going to talk about your macros, so you get to understand food, which in speaking with my family, I realize I assume people know this, but everybody's not a nerd like me. So we're going to talk about your protein, carbs, fats, what they are, what they do, and that'll probably give you some insight. So you're adjusting your diet becomes like a cool puzzle you can solve where you can pull these variables and make a meal. Okay? Bye-bye.